Yo, what up guys, iReapism here, and welcome back to another episode of 7327 the sequel. Alright, a lot of progress has been made, and I want to start off this video by saying I apologize, because I have not been making progress updates as frequent as possible. This is like a few weeks ahead, and we work pretty much every day, so... And what do I mean by me? Or we? I said we, right? Okay. We, as in Rekra and a few selected others, such as Youngston, and the rest are Rekra members, I assume. Yeah, the rest are Rekra members. Nobody else came onto the server. But yeah, guys, full credits will, of course, come to at the end of the map. There's going to be a lot of people to thank, because I opened this to my own group, Rekra, for, you know, a possibility of a lot of people contributing to the map. So, with that being said, let's move on, guys. I'm going to show you all the progress. This is episode 2 of Raise Dev, of course not, 7327, the sequel dev. Man, it's going to be hard. I made 40 episodes of Raise Dev over the course of a year and a half, so when I'm talking about dev, Raise always precedes it, or comes before it, always. So that's why my mind just said Raise Dev, or that's why I said it, because I've been embedded for a year and a half to say that. So anyways, guys, let's continue on. I'm going to describe the idea with this area. So basically you spawn this giant tree, this little tree trunk here, and then it opens up to this pathway that goes two ways. And on the side, there's these gray roots that stick out. Everything is uprooted, overgrown, so to speak, from these trees. And as you can see, if you look up, if you look very carefully, look straight up, it looks very overgrown. It looks like these floating little areas, I will have to pretty up some things. It looks really flat. But, this is what we did so far, episode 2. But a lot of progress, of course. A lot of weeks of progress. In between the first and second episode, of course. But yeah, we have these roots. I just put these redstone torches recently, in this week of development. And then we have these, cobwebs that prohibit fast-paced movement. So it kind of limits your mobility in the area. With the same thing with the roots being in the pathways, it limits your mobility. You must jump to get over this. You can't just run over it. You have to jump, but that limits your mobility. These cobwebs, of course, are the same. If we oops, I left the server. I wanted to go on my volume. Okay, so if you go through the center, there's more cobwebs that prohibit or limit your mobility. Yeah, there's some spawners here. There's cave spiders on both sides, like so. And yeah, it's a pretty nasty area, I'm not gonna lie. This will account for a lot of mob spawning. There's some areas like this where it's not part of the void, but we'll talk about this, stuff in a little bit. That's a map making feature. That is a design feature, and I want to go over that specifically on its own. But anyways, yeah, take a look through this area. We come up here to the battlefield. So this is the end of the jungle. Alright, actually, let's talk about the jungle a little bit more. So basically, once you come to the meeting paths, just like at the center, you can get this really weird water formation, that's going to lock mobs in place. And also cause the player to have limited mobility through the area. What this also does is it creates a layer. It creates an abstraction layer between the jungle and the battlefield. And I almost symbolized it with the tree as well. With the river, of course, but this dead tree that has different types of leaves because it's been dead for a bit. As you can see, these have different leaves because these are roots that are still alive. And this is, of course, the vibrant tree that's still, alive, of course. And anyways, same color, but, leaves are different, it's dying. See how it's locking the mobs in place? Yeah, it's a very weird formation. But yeah, that's how that works. And then we have roots. Dead, up, growing roots everywhere. As you can see, we have small little details like that. They're just randomly put out the map. And this is what it looks like, guys. This is what we have. We have a dead tree over here that's slammed over this rock. It kind of like, I don't know how to really explain it, but you can think of it however you want. This tree from over here was like destroyed almost. Lopsided left, turned over, hit this rock. Some roots are coming out of this rock. That can symbolize a lot of things, guys. Use your imagination in this map. But then you see like this dirt around. What is this dirt? This is coarse dirt. Coarse dirt does not spread, or grass does not spread on coarse dirt, so it remains dirty-like. And you can see the difference in textures. It's slightly darker than the actual dirt. And it actually turned out to be an excellent feature for this map. And by implementing little coarse dirt splots, or plops, around the map, it seems like it's dead. And as you can see, there's not a lot of tall grass near these things. If you see on the mountain, you'll get a better idea, but look, there's not a lot of tall grass, specifically for the coarse dirt, indicating that grass has died. And it's muddy. It has that muddy feeling. And we have this like kind of structured 3D path, if you will, that goes to the middle bridge and this little castle that is still being worked on. And then we have this little hay area and this little hut that does nothing right now. It's a little kind of safety between combat. We have this little uphill and then this crazy water. Again, this is temporary. I've told some people about this. I did not build this river to be this way, but some people think it will work. Who thinks it'll work? Shade Kirby 321 thinks it'll work, and I'm just gonna say his name because I really am interested to see how this will affect people's gameplay style and whether or not they hate my map because of this one river. But he thinks it might work, so I want to acknowledge him in the video and let him know that it's a challenge. Let's see if it works. And yeah, anyways, we're gonna go on to the castle. The castle is pretty simple. We have this lava that you can use to block the pathway for invading team. And then we have this little pathway up to the main floor. And we have a little archery point right here. Limited sight. So you're gonna have to be mobile in this castle area over here. Because if you think about it, if I'm an archer and I'm over here, I'm shooting, I have no vision on this side of the area. This, all of this, if you will, and forward is unseen by me unless I peek out excessively. For example, like this. And that puts me with the huge hitbox, an easy target, and etc. can happen. A lot of things can happen from that. This, you can choose to open up whatever you want to do. It's also vision without being harmed in any way. So you cannot take arrow damage, so range damage from this. So you have sight through. I did not build this castle, but I am commentating of what I think it does. But I did design the castle, like what I want in it and stuff, but I didn't actually build it. So yeah, same thing over here. If you take a look, you have to really come out. You can't just shoot from over here because you have limited mobility, or not mobility. You have limited sight. And this is the main area. This is where you don't really have limitations. When you come over here, you can see everything basically. It's a very open area though. Be careful when using archery in this area because you're susceptible to a lot of stuff. Anyways, we come up the stairs, get to the top portion of the map. This is archery, of course, indicated by these slabs and stuff. And I didn't talk about the mountain, but this is very important. When designing the battlefields, in that drawing that I will put in the description of this video, and it was in the description of the first video if you didn't see it. But essentially, guys, I wanted a lower level and a high level on either side. I decided to stick to one higher level. The lower level became a little bit problematic when trying to come up with a way to balance it, make players want to go to a lower level while limiting tunneling, all this other variable stuff that we don't really have to cover in this video. But what we do want to cover, what I want to cover, is this mountain. Why is this significant? Why do you even care, perhaps? Well, when you come up the mountain, once you make it easier for yourself, you're going to have to maybe destroy a few blocks. That is a design feature. I like the idea that the player has to remove some blocks to make their mobilization better for their team. For example, if you remove the roots on the pathways in the jungle while it's lit up and stuff, it becomes a lot easier to run through. So with that being in mind, I don't think it's a bad thing to add little bumps like this. Like in the pathway, we have roots coming up. You may want to clear the roots. You may want to punch these 2 leaf blocks to help you gain better or more efficient mobilization through this area. And yeah, guys, coming up to the top, what is so significant? It's a bridging point, of course, but you're set much farther back than you would be bridging over here or over here. So there's 2 advantages. This is a very fast bridging source, 4, 5, and then you can jump across, most likely. But over here, you have a height advantage, so you can shoot all of the defenders from this point because you have vision on all of them. If we come down here from the highest point, you don't have vision over players hiding behind this little shaft, of course, this little area. And I'm thinking about, this is not final, by the way, this little archery area. I want to increase elevation slightly because I did want to make it archery advantage superior up here because you can hit everything you can hit from up here. So very, very advantageous archer point. But yeah, guys, everything is being considered, guys. I am trying my best to consider all of the elements to make this map work again, and I'm doing my best with my team. My team is Rekra and a few selected others. So again, I appreciate you guys watching. Before we end it off though, one last thing is what the castle is made of. I won't go into too much depth, this is likely to change, but actually I will go in depth. Basically, I'm going to try my best to explain it here. When a class with TNT, for example, is blowing through this area, they have to put quite a few TNT before they're exposed to this layer, right? What's the idea with the anvils? Let's say if you're tunneling, you don't have to tunnel through the gravel and stuff up here if you're tunneling because you're exposed to defenders so much easier if you're tunneling through the top here rather than the bottom. So if you're tunneling through the bottom, you're probably unheard of, whatever. But there's these anvils that go through the center, just like that. There's a middle point with iron bars, just like this, and anvils. And what this allows is a smart player would probably mine the anvil here and the block right here and prevent the anvils from falling. However, someone with TNT, or an unskilled, unknowingly player, would mine these 2 blocks and cause an anvil to fall. And what that's going to do is that's going to create noise. Now, what a lot of people thought was, I break one anvil, the whole anvil thing falls, but there's iron bars above each one, so it's not going to cause a lot to fall. But it will make a sound, and when you hear an anvil drop, you know someone's, tunneling under there. Now, a lot of people are going to question why I did my design, but I believe this is the best way to allow tunneling to be used, but for there to be a detriment in doing it. Let me explain. The detriment in tunneling is that there is nothing that really stops you from tunneling, right? You have a pickaxe, you mine through blocks, you tunnel. You're kind of sequence breaking, if that makes sense, because in general, people come over here to bridge across and be contested by defenders. When you're mining in a 2x1 area for yourself, mining just to get across, you're not really being contested. Sure, there might be the occasional mob if the path was already created and it's darkness and mobs spawn, whatever. But that initial path that you make, mobs won't spawn, nothing's contesting you really, except if you make a mistake. And that's where I come in and say with the anvil design, if you make a mistake, people will know you're tunneling, period. If people don't have player counts, they'll know you're tunneling, period, because of the sound. Again, you can completely avoid it, but you have to be a little bit strategic on the way you choose to mine these blocks. And yeah, that's about it, guys. That's how it works. There's a lot of cobwebs and gravel. Cobwebs enable players to have to use another sort of material to mine the cobwebs. So there will be specialized classes that will deal with cobwebs, deal with, gravel and stuff, and mine faster than other classes. They're specialized in what they do. They do it effectively and efficiently, and they do it better than other classes. That's what specialized is. That is the class design I'm going for in this map, specialized classes. And one last thing, guys, before I go. This little acacia wood on the side. What is it? You may ask. That is to further increase the class's specialization, to further increase the likelihood if you want to tunnel, you pick that class. Because now you have roots. The root system underneath the map, how are you going to tunnel that fast when there's roots everywhere? There are roots everywhere, guys. You won't be able to see it. That's filled in a lot, not like this. It's not hollow, but there's roots everywhere. And yeah, guys, it's gonna make other classes that want to tunnel, people that want to tunnel, almost guarantee them to pick the tunneling sort of class. And that way I can limit their armor, I can limit their sword strength, their archery strength, and make the map balanced. But trust me, guys, you might say I'm limiting, tunneling a lot. But when is tunneling ever limited? Like, there's no bedrock, really, on the sides to limit tunneling. You can tunnel through the whole map, really. Right now, at least. But if you're going to do it, you got to be that class, or it's going to take you a hell of a long time in a timed map. So, feel free to sequence break, if you will. But you're going to have a hard time doing it. And same thing with this area. What class is going to get through iron bars? That's the idea with the iron bars. Who's going to mine through it that fast? Well, the specialized class, really. So yeah, guys, that's about that. I think I covered most of the points I want to cover this video. If you did enjoy this video, go ahead and let me know in the comments. I can't stress that enough. I really want your feedback, guys, because you can definitely contribute to the map by providing a comment. Anything that you might have, against what I'm thinking, or any sort of criticism, constructive advice, whatever you want to call it, go ahead, leave it in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out now.